I was talking to the Floatworks team a few days ago around how it feels to self-isolate, and we all agreed that it can be really, really challenging. The idea of working from home can be quite exciting. You get to do whatever you want, get up whenever you want, etc. But the reality is sometimes quite different to that, and we're being forced into a very extreme form of working from home at the moment where we're not really allowed to leave our houses. So that presents lots and lots of challenges. And it's really, really important right now that we all look after our physical and mental health and become very, very consciously aware of how we feel and do certain things in order to support us during this time. So I wanted to leave my top tips and tricks for maintaining physical and mental health during the lockdown. So firstly, mental health. Well, I think it's really, really important to have a very, very good working from home routine. So what does that mean? If we were going into the office, then we'll get up at a certain time, do things in the morning, and then be switching off from work at a certain time. And it can be very easy to let that slip when we're at home all day. So I would suggest getting out of bed at a reasonable time, at a predetermined time, having some sort of morning routine. So for me, that involves some exercise, some meditation, making sure I eat and drink the right things, and then starting work at a very specific time, just like you would if you were working normally. Throughout the day, it's important to take loads of breaks, like you would be talking to colleagues or going out to lunch. Do the same things, make sure you're not just sat at the desk for 8-9 hours. And then finish work at a specific time, whether that's 5pm, 6pm, 7pm, making sure that it doesn't drag out right through the night and therefore would probably impact sleep. So switch off at a very good time in the evening, switch off from all devices, do any evening routine you've got. For me, there's some meditation and journaling, and then get to sleep at a good time and have a great sleep and then do it all again. In addition to that, I mentioned meditation. I think mindfulness practices are going to be really, really important. There's a lot of scary news going around, so it's very, very important that we become aware of how we feel and what we're thinking. So whether that's meditation or journaling or breath work or yoga or going for your one walk a day in the park, in nature, whatever it may be, is very important that we stick to those really, really good mindfulness habits. The next thing I would suggest is find ways to be creative. Being stuck at home all day, every day can get a bit dull. So it's really important that we stimulate our minds, both so that we can be more productive and so that we can just be more generally mentally well. So for me, very recently during this lockdown, I've started to write poetry, which has been really, really powerful for me. And I've also started to do online ecstatic dances, which has been extremely, extremely good for me to have that release of energy and movement. So whether it's that or getting into art or singing or playing an instrument, all of these things are really, really good for our mental health. And they also mean that the quality of our work is going to be better if we're thinking a lot more vibrantly. And then my final tip would be to make sure that you continue to connect and reach out to people. So for the most part, we are social animals, and whilst you're at home, of course, that could really, really slip, especially if you're self-isolating on your own like I am. But even if it's just with one more person, there's not a lot of variety there. So there are loads of good technologies now that really help with this. Google Hangouts and Zoom and FaceTime and all the social media channels. And what I've been doing is having Zoom coffees in the morning with certain members of the community who want some one-on-one time. And we've been having team meetings on Zoom, and that's been really, really powerful. So I would suggest making sure that you still do your social stuff. One of my friends is having her birthday on Zoom next week, which is very, very beautiful. So use the technologies in order to keep connecting with people and continuing to develop and deepen those relationships. And on your physical health, well, I'd really break that down into two categories, one being diet and the other exercise. So on diet, obviously we try to have a really good diet whenever we can. It's not always possible, and sometimes as going out to work makes that very difficult because we're constantly rushing and picking up junk food. So I actually see this as a really, really good opportunity to get healthy and to get that really nutritious diet in place. So we're going to be locked up in our houses for a while, make use of the kitchen, learn new recipes, get in loads of really nice nutritious food and start creating. That'll be very good on the creative side as well, and obviously giving your body just what it needs in order to feel strong and fit and healthy. And then on the exercise, I found this difficult because I usually go to the gym, and not having access to that equipment has been a challenge. Over the past few weeks, I've been figuring out how to substitute my physical exercise. I've been doing lots of online fitness classes, so the likes of One Rebel and Cycle and Third Space, they all have really, really cool online classes on Instagram Live. There's also plenty on YouTube. There's lots of yoga available online, and of course running around the park and working out in the park is a really good substitute as well, and then you get to be in nature. So there are lots of options. It's just really about being a bit more creative again and making really good use of your environment to stay fit and healthy. So finally, I'd just say that this is going to be challenging, and we'll probably go through ups and downs, and some days you'll feel great, some days it won't feel as good. So stay positive, keep knowing that this is going to pass, keep reaching out to each other if you need support. These are the tips that I would recommend for mental and physical health, but of course it's going to be unique to each and every person. So come up with the things that you're going to do, set the intentions, make a little plan, try and stick to it. Don't be hard on yourself if you don't stick to it. And also let me know in the comments or send me a message if you've got any other tips and tricks that you'd like me to know about.